I just finished reading The Nightingale by Kristin and here's my book review. The Nightingale by Kristin is a sweeping historical fiction novel set during World War II in Nazi-occupied France, centered on the lives of two sisters, Vianne and Isabelle Mauriac. Though they are bound by blood, the sisters could not be more different in temperament, choices, or the ways they respond to the war that consumes their country. Through their parallel journeys, the novel explores survival, resistance, sacrifice, love, motherhood, and the many forms bravery can take, especially for women whose heroism has long been overlooked by history. Vianne Mauriac, the older sister, is left alone in her rural French village when her husband is sent off to fight. She is forced to house a German officer in her home, a situation that places her and her young daughter in constant danger. Vianne's struggle is not one of open rebellion, but of endurance. She must navigate hunger, fear, moral compromise, and the slow erosion of her autonomy as the occupation tightens its grip. Over time, her quiet acts of resistance grow stronger, as she risks everything to protect Jewish children, falsify documents, and defy a system built to dehumanize. Vianne's story highlights how survival itself can be an act of courage, especially for women trapped within domestic spaces that become battlegrounds of their own. Isabelle, the younger sister, is impulsive, angry, and unwilling to accept the injustices imposed by the Nazis. Unlike Vianne, she refuses to stay silent or compliant. Drawn to the French resistance, Isabelle becomes deeply involved in dangerous underground operations, eventually taking on the role of a courier guiding down Allied airmen across the Pyrenees Mountains to safety. Operating under the codename The Nightingale, Isabelle risks capture, torture, and death with every journey she makes. Her storyline is inspired by real women in the resistance, particularly Andrée de Jong, sorry if I mispronounced the name wrong, whose bravery helped save countless lives during the war. Andrée, a young woman during the war in her early 20s, was a member of the Belgian resistance during the Second World War. She organized and led the Comet Line to assist Allied soldiers and airmen to escape from Nazi-occupied Belgium. As the war progresses, both sisters are pushed to their physical and emotional limits. The novel does not shy away from the brutality of war, depicting starvation, betrayal, sexual violence, imprisonment, and the devastating cost of resistance. Hannah shows how women were forced to make impossible choices, often paying for them with their bodies, their families, and their lives. Despite this, The Nightingale is also a story of love, between sisters, between mothers and children, and between women who band together in the face of overwhelming cruelty. In my opinion, the novel ultimately serves as a tribute to the countless women whose contributions during World War II were erased, minimized, or forgotten. By telling the story through female perspectives, Kristin challenges the traditional male-dominated narratives of war and insists that women's bravery, whether loud or quiet, violent or nurturing, was just as essential to survival and resistance. The Nightingale is not only a war story, but a reminder that history is filled with women whose courage changed the course of lives, even if their names were never recorded. If it weren't for this incredible work of historical fiction, I would have probably never heard of this courageous Andrée de Jong. Women are overlooked far too much in history, and when we are seen, our actions are downplayed. Stories like this one, despite being fiction but still based on true events, are so vital for young girls to read. To know that women are just as important as men during times of war and throughout history.